welcome back to my channel, guys. Today I want to do a bit of a story time video, and it's one that's quite personal that I've been wanting to do for a while, probably since I started my channel, but I haven't actually plucked up the courage until now to actually do so. But I feel like now's the right time to fill you all in. I'm afraid I've just got back from the gym, and to be honest with you, I really can't be bothered to change or look nice. If you are interested in my story time video and what I want to fill you in on, I do just want to say it may be a bit longer than my other videos, so grab yourself a drink, grab yourself whatever you need, and let's get into it. As per usual, I'm going to be sat on my bed and I'm just going to sit here and have a little chat with you, because I feel like that's what I do best and that's more me and it's more natural that way. So, as you will probably be aware from my 23 things I learned at 23, I mentioned the fact that my mum has cancer, but I didn't go into much detail. And I didn't go into much detail because I didn't feel like that was the right video to do so. Some of you may have been here since the beginning of when I started, and even in my first video I slightly mentioned it there, but I again just didn't feel comfortable actually pulling it out there and saying it how it is and kind of sharing her and my story, I guess. But now I actually feel like I probably need to do it, and I feel like I need to do it because obviously I'm filming all the time and I can't just pretend that it's not happening, if that makes sense, because you know I want to feel like I'm not hiding things from you, and I know I do it in my blog, so I feel like I should also do it here as well to balance it out, because that is me, and realistically I'm just here to share my journey of life and hopefully inspire some other people. So I've decided today is the day that I'm going to talk to you about where it all began. I did this blog post, where it all began, actually in 2016 in December. This was probably one of my most popular blog posts that I ever did. It honestly just blew up. If you are interested in reading any of my blog posts, you can just go on and do so, but this is the blog post. So if you go down to the bottom on the home page, you can actually click on the search bar, so you can find it easier that way. But on my blog, if you do follow it, you'll know that I do share a lot, which isn't for everyone. You know, I understand that not everyone wants to share everything, but for me, I feel I want my blog and I want my kind of internet space or my social media and all of this to reflect on my life. I'm not here to be like anyone else, I'm here to be me. So yeah, enough rambling. So I'm just going to start from where it all began really, and just tell you kind of the background about what's been going on, because there's quite a lot to fill you in on, I guess, that you wouldn't know unless you know me personally. So throwing it way back to my older sister's 22nd birthday, or in August 2007, a long time ago, we basically decided to go for a birthday meal for my sister at Lucky Star, which was like an all-you-can-eat Chinese takeaway sort of place. It was actually really good. I'm really sad they got rid of that. And we had a great meal, you know, normal family time, whatever, all went fine. And we left there, everything was absolutely fine. We got home and my mum turned out to have a really bad belly ache. I can't remember exact details, but she had excruciating belly pain, and it got so severe that in the end we did take her down to the hospital. When we took her down to the hospital, they told us that she actually had gallstones and she'd need to have them removed. So, you know, that's all fine. It's a pretty straightforward procedure. It's nothing too big. It's just a normal thing that some people have done. And, you know, we didn't really think much of it, to be honest. It was just what it was. The gallstones were just going to be removed and we're going to carry on with life, and you know, never really thought anything of it, to be honest. It wasn't a big thing at the time. I'm sorry if I keep looking down, by the way. It's just because I'm using my blog post as reference, so I make sure I don't get everything muddled up. February 2007, my mum actually was scheduled for her surgery, and she was actually the last person to go down for her surgery. I can't remember how long the surgery was, to be honest, but I don't think it was supposed to be very long, and I think they were doing it by keyhole. I think, I could be wrong. And basically, because she was the last patient to be seen, the surgeon took extra care, and while he was removing the gallstones, he noticed that Mum's liver looked a bit funny. So off his own back, he just decided to remove some and do a little bit of a biopsy just to see what was going on and if there was a problem. Obviously, we just presumed everything was fine, and around 2 or 3 weeks after she'd been in hospital, she came home, which obviously was just such a relief to have Mum back home, because back then I think I was 13, so it was very strange to not have Mum around for 2 to 3 weeks. But we just thought everything was going to be fine, she was going to heal, she'll be back and it would all be normal. Until March 2007. To be honest, this is probably where everything began. It's hard to kind of remember this, because to be honest, if I'm completely honest with you, I do feel like because I was quite young, I don't have the best memory of it. I probably blocked it out as much as possible. But we received some news that the biopsy had come back and confirmed that Mum had liver cancer. Now obviously this was a shock for us, because we weren't even expecting anything to come back at all about this, because we didn't actually know the biopsy had been done. It came back that she had liver cancer, and so they decided that she needed surgery to have 70% of her liver removed. Now, in case you don't know, with a liver you can have some of it removed and then it kind of grows back and it doesn't affect anything. So she had 70% removed. But obviously that was quite a big surgery, and if I remember, she had like a scar that kind of went all the way down, probably to about her belly button or just above, and then straight across. And yeah, that was probably one of the most scariest times of my life, because I remember she was down for surgery, God knows how long, but it felt like she'd been down there forever. It honestly just felt so long. And I just remember sitting there in the hospital just waiting for her to come round, waiting to hear it was all okay. And it was just horrendous. It was just, I honestly think it was horrible. I don't remember everything, but I just know that wait just felt forever. Eventually she came round and we obviously went to see her in intensive care. Now for me personally, this was the first time I'd ever even stepped foot in intensive care, let alone ever even seen anyone after surgery. So I can't not say it was a shock. It was an absolute shock. But I do remember that actually she was so high on morphine that it actually turns out really funny. That might sound really weird, but although she was covered in tubes and everything, she was so high on morphine that actually she was saying the most hilarious things. And one thing I'll never forget is when she was staying in hospital, she went in with some green pyjamas and she loved them, whatever. And when the nurses were walking around, they were wearing the same green as her pyjamas were, and she was absolutely convinced that the nurses had stolen her pyjamas, and so was shouting at them and telling them to give them back and that sort of thing. And I just remember me and my sister were actually in intensive care laughing our head off at the fact that my mum was determined to get these pyjamas off this nurse when actually she didn't even have her pyjamas. She then spent some time in hospital recovering. They stapled her scar up, which, gosh, I remember when she was having it taken out, and that was not a nice thing to have done. And so yeah, at the age of 13, when my mum got back home, me and my sister had to push my mum around in a wheelchair, which was hard. If I'm honest, it was a very hard thing to have to do, because bearing in mind I'm only 4'11" now at 23, so God knows how little I was at 13 having to push my mum around. And obviously, you know, she wasn't small, but she wasn't massive, but to us she was a lot heavier than you would probably imagine. And I remember me and my sister used to actually hold a handle each and push just to try and get her around, because we couldn't do it on our own. So that was quite a hard thing, because everywhere we went people would look at us and you'd feel judged, and it wasn't very nice at all, especially because we were so young as well. That was hard, if I'm honest, that was really hard. And then 5 months after, we found out she now had some more cancer in her ovary. She also had to have removed, and to be honest, from here on out it just kind of spiraled and just went here, there, everywhere for God knows how many years, and just honestly just went from place to place to place to place. So actually after this she was then clear for 4 to 5 years, cancer free, you know, she didn't have any problems whatever. But when you've had cancer already, you go back and forth for regular scans and regular checks just to monitor everything and make sure it's all okay. Fast forward to 2011, she was going for her normal scan results. Came back that the cancer had now spread to her stomach lining. It's a bit hard to explain what that is, but it's kind of in your stomach area somewhere. And so yeah, back in 2011 we were told that it was back again, and it was literally the year that if they hadn't have found it then, they'd have just cleared her and said that, oh, because it was now in her stomach lining, she needed to have chemotherapy. Obviously chemotherapy is a horrible thing to go through, but with my mum it was actually made worse because my mum just couldn't tolerate the chemotherapy. Every time she would have it, it would make her seriously ill. And in the end they ended up saying, look, we can't give you it because your platelets and your white blood cells and all that sort of stuff that you need isn't good enough to do so. So eventually the chemotherapy was actually making her even iller than she needed to be, meaning that she wasn't fighting the cancer the way she should have been. She was on and off it for God knows how long, where she would have it one week and then wouldn't be able to have it the next week, and then she'd have it another week or leave it like a few months and whatever, and they'd keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, and it just never really worked for her. So in October 2013 we were told that the chemotherapy was no longer working for her. It wasn't doing anything at all. It wasn't destroying the cancer. It wasn't making her any better. It was in fact making her worse, and therefore they were going to stop the chemotherapy, which obviously meant, you know, they're stopping everything. They aren't giving her any more treatment whatsoever, which of course, as you can imagine, was hard because it's now basically that they're not treating it and therefore the cancer has become terminal. At this time we were told that Mum had roughly 11 months to live, and that would be it. That would be the time scale. And they told us that actually with the type of cancer she has, most people wouldn't even make it past or to the 11 months. So of course, being told that, we as a family struggled because, you know, we had to accept that as far as the doctors were aware, in 11 months Mum wouldn't be here. So that was tough. That was really tough. But we as a family pulled together, did, you know, lots and lots of family things, made memories and that sort of thing, ensuring that we would have something to look back on. That was really hard. And I actually have something that my mum started to make me back at that time, which was like a little photo box where she put photos in and wrote notes and stuff, and that's something I'll always treasure. Thing I can't really describe, but you're told that you have 11 months, and as you can imagine, it hits you hard, and you have to more or less accept it and make memories and try and make the best of the time that you have. Fast forward then to March 2016, Mum's still here. It feels weird saying that after the 11 months, even longer than the 11 months, Mum's still here. So yeah, she's still here, and obviously that is quite confusing. I honestly think that was probably one of the most confusing times because, you know, we'd been making all these arrangements and getting together all of these plans for the end of her life after 11 months. And then for the 11 months to be up, and then she's still here looking almost the same, you know, battling through whatever, when we were told she wouldn't even be here now. That was weird. I can't describe it to you, but honestly it was just a weird time period. So she then had another scan with results, and they found out the cancer had now gone to her kidney. The cancer was now getting so big that it was pushing on her kidney, which obviously, you know, entitles you to wee and go to the toilet and that sort of thing. So she had to have surgery done. So she had surgery to relieve the pressure, and also had chemotherapy as well. Same old story, she couldn't tolerate it. There's nothing more to say about that, to be honest. She just, for some reason, chemotherapy would not work. May 2016, Mum was actually rushed to hospital in an ambulance, which was actually, it was horrible. And basically what had happened is she had caught sepsis. I think I'm saying that right, but it's basically she caught blood poisoning. Her body had decided to reject the stent that she had put into her kidney to hold everything up. So because it had rejected it, it had also somehow given her blood poisoning, and she had to have the stent then removed again, and from here she'd have to have a new stent every 6 months. And that was just something that they wouldn't be able to change, and it was just something that had to be done. Now, October 2016, 3 years ago on this day, we were told Mum would have 11 months to live, only she's still here. And this was a weird day because I still remember this day like it was yesterday. It was the first time I'd ever gone with Mum, as just me and Mum, to have her results, because no one else was available, so I decided I should go. Because I'd never been before, I had no idea what to expect, no idea like what happened or how they did it, and you know, it was very unknown. And I remember just feeling so nervous, and the pit of my stomach was just bubbling away, and I honestly just felt just so nervous and just scared for what I was going to be told. I remember we walked into the room and they did the normal thing that they normally do, get out the scan, have a little look through it, and the doctor turned around and told us that actually the cancer has now spread to her pelvic bone. So she had to go back 2 weeks after that appointment for a bone scan to actually see how big it was and actually look in depth into her bones to see what was going on. I remember after being told that, we got the bus home and we just travelled home in absolute silence. And because for me it was the first time I'd ever been, I'd never experienced that feeling before. But I remember as soon as the word cancer and spread was said, my heart just leaped, and to be honest, I think I blanked the rest of it out. I just feel like I zoned out and just was staring at the doctor just in disbelief that it wasn't true. And yeah, so that was hard actually. I think that was one of the hardest things I've ever done, is going and actually being told the bad news directly to me and my mum, rather than getting home and having my mum and my dad or my mum and my sister tell me instead. Actually hearing it from a doctor, it was honestly just horrible. I can't even tell you how horrible it was, but my heart just sank straight down. And we travelled home on that bus and we literally travelled in complete silence. So I did the stupid thing where I googled what this meant. So I typed into Google, obviously, cancer spread to pelvic bone, and from here I obviously came across websites that more or less said that because the cancer's now in her bone and it's her pelvis bone, it's now likely to spread to other bones. From here it said it was likely to go to her spine, her ribs, and this will more or less be the end, because obviously bone cancer can be fatal. As you can imagine, it's inside your bone. Like, even just saying that, it sounds obviously serious. And I think if anyone ever tells you, oh, I've got bone cancer, you know that that's not good. And to be honest, I think this actually affected me so much. I, for some reason, just seemed to completely shut down. You know, it had been 10 years that we'd dealt with my mum's cancer, and now it's gone to her bones, and I've just googled and it basically tells you that it's the end and it's just going to spread and spread and spread and get worse. And I just completely shut down. I got severely depressed. I didn't want to work. I started having like more migraines, as I have migraines as stress and due to my anxiety, and it was just a really hard time. It honestly, I can't even tell you how hard it was. I was just in a hole that I just could not get out of. Because she couldn't tolerate chemotherapy, they would try radiotherapy. So on the 1st of December, she actually went for her first ever radiotherapy on her pelvis area. And they actually said to us, you know, there's no guarantee that this is going to do anything at all. It might just slow it down, or it could make matters worse. The risk is kind of unknown. And to be honest, although I had anxiety, I still just had this fear inside of me. And you know, if someone makes you jump, or if something's happening and you're in fear, it was like living through that every single day. Every day that I would go to sleep, I would go to sleep and just wish that nothing would happen. I'd wake up and I'd still have this anticipation inside of me, and it was honestly, it just felt so lonely, because to be honest, I think when you're going through something like this, it's not something that you really talk about much, especially me anyway. I shut down completely, wouldn't talk to anyone. I didn't know anyone that was going through the same thing, and because I was so depressed and just feeling the way I was, I didn't want to talk to anyone really, so I completely shut down. So it then came back that the radiotherapy actually didn't do anything at all. It didn't slow anything down, it didn't make anything better, nothing like that. And so they were stopping the radiotherapy and they were going to stop the treatment altogether. Now all of a sudden on the 31st of December we lost my auntie. She died all of a sudden, and that was scary, to be honest. That was scary, because when you lose someone and you don't expect it, it just seems to hit you so much harder. Because I guess with my mum, we knew it was going to happen, so we could make memories, we could take pictures, all of that sort of thing. Whereas losing someone dramatically, just gone, you don't get to do that. And I personally hardly have any photos of me and my auntie, which I always find really sad, because she was my mum's sister, and through my mum's childhood, my auntie was basically looking after my mum like a mother would, because my own mum lost her mum quite young. So literally my auntie was my mum's rock, and my auntie had a tattoo that said Liz on her hand, and they'd gone away and made memories and this sort of thing. And to just suddenly lose her was just heartbreaking, and it affected my mum the most, as you can imagine. And to be honest, I think this year in general, 2017, has been one of the hardest years of my life. I can't even tell you how hard it's been, and I don't want this to be like a massive depressing video, because that's not what I'm intending. So from January to now, 8 months, things have rapidly started to change. And when I say rapidly, like, I mean rapidly. She slowly had started to lose weight. At first it was slow, it was you'd just notice, oh, she looks a little bit slimmer today, and it would just be like that. And then it got to about June, after my birthday on the 10th, and from there it just escalated. It's almost like it just came out of the blue and was like, oh, I'm here, I'm here, and there's nothing you can do about it anymore. So Mum started to lose weight rapidly, and she would lose God knows how much, but right now she is so skinny, it's not even okay how skinny she is. Like, she's never been a big person, but she's never been small, and you can see every bone on her body, and she is just skin and bones. And to be honest, it's not nice to look at someone like that when you're not used to seeing them like that. I think that is one of the things where it hits you. It's like, shit, Mum's now really, really skinny. And of course, because she then loses weight, everything else gets worse. So right now we're at the stages where things really aren't good. I don't know how long. Again, it's all unknown, and we don't know how long she's got. We don't know how long, what's going to happen really. We just have to take it as each day. She's now so skinny that she can no longer walk on her own. She has a walking stick, but she can only use that like if it's across the road to the car. Most of the time we have to push her in the wheelchair if she wants to get out, which I personally try and do as much as I can, and I know the others do too. She can no longer get up the stairs or in the bath on her own, so we have to physically help her up the stairs and physically help her in and out of the bath. And I think helping her in and out of the bath is, I find it personally just so shocking, because even if she sits away from you, you can see the outline of her shoulder blade, you can see her whole spine, you can just see how slim she is, and you can see every bone pronounced. You can even see her ribs here, they stick out when she's asleep, and it's quite heartbreaking, to be honest, to watch someone just slowly deteriorate, is the only word I can say. She no longer can eat much. In fact, we most of the time have to try and force her to eat. Well, not force, but we have to try and, you know, tell her that she needs to eat, and it's just really not good. And so we know that sometime soon it's going to happen. So now is when we've really started to take it seriously, and I guess it's been an eye-opener after 10 years to now actually be at this final stage, when we were told that final stage would have been years and years ago. Obviously, I couldn't be more thankful than I am for the extra time we've had, and for that nosy surgeon. If it wasn't for him, she wouldn't be here today, and she wouldn't have been here at all for however long we've had her here, and she wouldn't have seen us grow up, and, you know, she'd have missed out on so much. And that doesn't make it any easier, to be honest. It doesn't make it easier for the fact that she has had that much time. It doesn't make it easier either, knowing that it's going to happen. If anything, it feels worse, just this massive, again, anticipated feeling deep down. For me personally, I don't really know how I feel about it anymore. I honestly don't know how I feel about it anymore. I know that, like, when I really think about it, I just, inside of me just breaks and just wants to cry out. But on the outside, I no longer cry. I don't know why, I don't know if that's normal or not, but I no longer cry. I just cry on the inside, and I think that's really strange, because I'll know I'm crying, but there's no tears. So I'm crying on the inside, but I'm not crying on the outside. So of course, to anyone around me, it just looks like I'm just normal, nothing's going on, and I guess it's harder for them to know that I am sad. That's something, I guess, a bit personal that I haven't really, well, I've talked about it on here, but I've not actually shared the whole story. And to be honest, I feel like the reason I wanted to do this today is because eventually things are going to get worse, and she's not going to be here. And I want to make this video before it gets too raw. Things right now are not good. They aren't great, and I feel like I just want to be real with you guys, because I don't want to feel like I have to hide my feelings or feel like I can't be myself, because, to be honest, I feel like me as a person, I want you guys to know what's going on, and I feel like if I feel sad one day and I need to film, I'll film and I'll be sad. At the end of the day, it's my life, and I feel like this could help other people. With me talking about it could help someone else in my situation, or even just make someone else feel like they can talk to me and they can share their story. And I want to show them that actually, although hard, it can be okay and it will get better. And I don't want anyone to ever feel as low and as depressed as I did through something like this. I really don't, and that is the reason why I blog, and that is the reason why I share the things I do, and that is the reason why I'm sharing this video, is because if I at least just help one person in this world, then to me that's more than I could ever ask for. And I know that right now things aren't good, and I know that things right now, even for me personally, are up and down constantly, and some days I feel great and other days I don't feel good at all. And I don't want to feel like I have to pressure myself to be this perfect picture or this perfect internet person, or I just want to share the real stuff that maybe other people wouldn't share with you. And I know that eventually things are going to get bad and it could hit rock bottom, and I don't know how long we have, I don't know when, and I feel like with sharing this maybe I could start to vlog some things, to have some videos to look back on, and I want to be able to, when I'm older, look back at this video and feel like I did something good, and be able to feel proud of making a positive out of such a negative situation. So yeah, that's I guess what I wanted to say, and that's the reason I've shared this video. I'm sorry it's long, but I feel like it had to be long. I feel like I needed to at least say it. I don't care if people watch this or don't watch this. I don't care if people watch half of this. To be honest, I don't care. As long as in my mind I've put it out here, and for anyone that does want to watch it, if I know that they can, then that's okay with me, and I'm happy with that. And you know, I don't want it to suddenly just be like, I don't want to suddenly just come on here and announce that my mum's gone, or I don't want it to, I want you guys to be in on the know. And I don't think there's anything worse than if when she dies, I don't want to have to take time away and people not know why. I want people to know that actually if I go quiet for months or weeks, I want them to know that it's probably because things have got bad and I can't face it. But I also want to feel like if at that time I want to upload videos and I want to share things with you, that I can do so without having to explain everything all again. So basically this is a very long-winded video. It's one that I've been putting off for a while, but it's one that I now feel I need to do it now before it's too late. And I just want to share real life with you, I guess. I don't want to be a fake person. I don't want to put up videos just pretending everything is okay when it's not. I've thought about this a lot, and I don't want to do that with my blog. I don't want to do that with my social media. I don't want to be that person that has a perfect life, because perfect doesn't exist, and real life hurts. Real life is shit, and things happen and we have to deal with them. And hopefully watching this back, I'll be able to be proud of myself. Hopefully if my family watch this, they can, I don't know, I guess if people watch this and they know me, I just hope you know that I am okay and I will be okay. I mean, sure, I'm probably not going to be okay when it all happens. I'm probably not as okay as I think I am. I don't really know how I am, but I just want people to know that eventually I will be okay, and as long as I'm doing what I'm doing and as long as I'm putting good out in the world, then I'm happy. I'm sorry, it's now the next day, so I look completely different, but it got a bit emotional and I just decided I wanted to call it there and get some sleep, because the last thing I want to do is cry on this channel. I mean, I don't cry at the moment, so it's very unlikely, but I'd rather not sit here and cry, because I don't think that's right to do. So that was my long story. I know that it's really long, and I've honestly tried to cut it down as much as I possibly can, and it's still going to be long, but I do just want to say, if you have made it to the end, thank you. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for watching and just just thank you, really. Just thank you for getting to the end of the video. I actually would like to know who gets to the end of the video and who doesn't, because honestly, I honestly don't mind if you haven't got to the end of the video. I understand completely that not everyone wants to hear someone talk about stuff like this, and I completely understand that. So if you haven't, please don't feel like you have to pretend that you got to the end when you didn't. And if you did get to the end, just leave me a comment or something saying you got to the end of the video, I guess. I don't really know how to do that bit, but so that's going to wrap up this one. I think I've said everything I need to say, and I think I've got everything out there that I wanted to get out, and hopefully when this goes up I'll feel a little bit better. I have to say right now I've got that horrible nervous feeling because this is a very different video for me to put out here. I think normally I would just write this in a blog post, so it actually feels quite different to talk about it and say it out loud. It seems a bit more real, I guess, but this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I feel like now is the right time, and I don't want to not ever get this video done and then regret it. So that's the reason for the video. Thank you so much for listening, and if you don't want to comment below, don't comment below. This video isn't about comments, this video isn't about that sort of thing at all. It's just me sharing my experience and hopefully helping at least one person, and just putting my story out there and feeling like I've done what I wanted to do, because like I said, it's not an easy thing to go through, but I've found it even harder to film videos and not mention things. And I want to feel like if I'm vlogging and I'm pushing mum in a wheelchair, I feel like I want you to know why without having to say there and then why. So hopefully this video explains a lot. Like I said, thank you. Just thank you for listening to me, and I'm sorry if you didn't agree on this video, or I'm sorry if this video upset you. That wasn't the intentions. It's just me sharing me, I guess, doing what I do. And if you did like it or you did enjoy it, please do give it a like and just subscribe, and hopefully from here on out we can have a bit more of a happier, upbeat channel now that this one's out there. But I will just say that I don't know what's to come. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm going to try my best to keep up with this, and I'm going to try and remind myself that I want to help others, and that's who I am and that's what I do. So yeah, that's going to wrap up this one, guys. So bye.